let's move on to further ahead with the journey. When you are joining practice, you may be a fresh postgraduate, or you may be leaving an organization after an adequate experience, or maybe you have retiring from your profession and then thinking of going in for private practice. And in each you have to define your aims and objectives. The approach, the investment and planning will be different for all three. You could go in for a solo practice, which the advantages are independence, where you are your own master, you don't have to share the profit, you have the quality and the working to your own liking, but the disadvantages already as highlighted are difficult to fulfill, commitment of availability, very high investment and equally high risks, underutilization of the resources, and there is always a limit to growth of a solo practice. Group practice has already been covered, and also the resource sharing practice. When you are starting practice, there are some questions which are coming to your mind. Where to start? When to start? What kind of facilities you are going to give? What level of practice you are going to have? What kind of investment you are looking at? How you are going to raise the finances? How much money you need? And how you are going to shop for the equipment? And this all questions can be answered if you have a proper project report which unfolds the scene for you. And for project report, you do the exercise for all possibilities and eventualities on paper that can take place as you plan your practice, and you assess the viability of the project, which is very important, and plan investment and chart out different phases of development. You decide the place, the city, the kind of the practice, whether you are going to be a primary ophthalmologist, a secondary or a tertiary care center. What kind of a market you are going to enter? Are you going to enter the premium top high-end market? Are you going to enter into the masses market, or are you going to enter into the lower segment, which are going to be, because the kind of the investment, setting up and facilities, everything is going to depend on what kind of a market you are looking at. For project evaluation, you have to look at where you want to start. You have to look at the area around that. There will be some area as represented in green, from which may be 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers around your clinic, from where all patients with all disorders will come. Then you have a wider area from where cases with surgery will come. Then you will have a much wider geographical area from where you will have a specialty referral, and then much wider area which may go to 300 kilometers if you have a tertiary referral from these areas. So you have to define what area you are going to cover, and then you calculate the total population of that area. You find out the incidence of diseases which are available from epidemiological studies, and you calculate how much is the patient pool, which is percent incidence into relevant population divided by 100. This will give you an idea that, okay, I have X number of patients for refraction in my primary area, I have X number of cases requiring cataract surgery in my surgical area, and from this relevant population, from this you will take out the relevant population. Like for cataract, you are going to exclude the population which is below 40, and then you will look at the income level poverty line. You are going to, if you are entering into a higher segment, you will take out the population which cannot pay. So you are looking at, you have to first calculate your patient pool, and then you should aim to have a market penetration of 1 to 2%. If you can break even at 2% market penetration in the patient pool in the area that you have decided, there is no reason why you are going to fail. And your turnover below that means that you are not going to break even. So once you have decided, I am going to start here, you have calculated the patient pool, you have made sure that you have enough patients to sustain your practice, you are going to look up at different aspects on the patient care, literature update, updating your knowledge, purchase of equipment, office automation, computers, internet, finance management, advertising, marketing, CPA, and the hospital's personnel management. Patient care, remember the patients are demanding, they have very high expectations, they are all aware, they are all net savvy now, they are result oriented, and they analyze you and your setup very critically. And you decide what kind of a setup you are going to have. Are you going to have only OPD facilities, or you have indoors also for overnight stay? Are you going to have your own OT recovery, or are you going to use somebody else's OT? How big waiting area you want? And are you sending the patients home? And what kind of equipment you are looking at? You make your own list that this is the equipment. Depending upon the level of the practice and level of the investment, you will decide what all you are going to decide. And then you can plan purchases in different phases. You can start your OPD and then go with the surgery. As far as the purchase of equipment is concerned, make a list of what you're going to buy, decide specifications based on your requirements, what minimum features you are looking at into those equipment, identify the manufacturers, get quotes, look into detail into the terms and conditions and decide the best value for your money. Look at the CAF, look at what is FOB. There will be a lot of small things in final print which you need to be aware before you finally make the deal for that. Look at the after sales services, AMC, quality of the product and service. Do talk to the users of that equipment and must have an on-hand demonstration if you have not already used that equipment. Another important aspect when you are setting up the practice is funds management. I wish that MCI has some kind of curriculum in MBBS that at our MBBS level we are all exposed to these things, rather than that once we are ready to work, then we start thinking of all these things. You have to raise funds, you have to control cash flow, you have to look at loan repayments, you have to do the tax planning, you have to have savings, and you have to plan your retirement and for future expansions. For this, the sources of the funds will be your own equity, the money you are going to put from your pocket. You can take unsecured loans if possible from your friends or relatives. Then you go to the banks and take loans from the banks or the state financial institutions. If you have a bigger dream, then maybe venture capitalists or the NRI loans. The control of the cash flow in your practice is very important, where you have a weekly tracking of the receipts and expenses so that the cash flow remains under control and you are not suddenly burdened with the installment. And loan repayment again should be looked into. Divide your repayment into smaller components so that you are always ready with the payment that you have made, because if you falter on your installments, it's not good, because your credit rating may go down and the interest again goes very high. Then is the tax planning. You need expert advice of it, and my suggestion is that you should plan your tax rather than evade the tax. Another important thing is the costing and pricing. When you are going to offer service to your patient, you are going to put a tag on that. Don't look what are the charges around and then decide your charges according to it. Do a proper costing and pricing. First, you should know how much that is going to cost you. If you are doing a cataract surgery, you should know how much it is going to cost you. Only then you will be putting a price on that how much you are going to charge to the patient. And when you are looking at the costing, you should not only look at the cost consumables. You will look at the cost of the sterilization. You are looking at the cost of the staff salary. You will be looking at the cost of the rent. You will be looking at cost of the electricity, of the annual maintenance, insurance of the equipment that you are using, depreciation on or interest on the equipment, and also from this funds only, this earning only, you are going to look at your next upgrade or replacing the equipment. So this is important, that costing and pricing at it is something which needs to be done on regular interval or on an annual basis. That are you maintaining your profit margins properly or not? And with that, you have to add value to the services where it is a right combination of the pricing as well as the quality. There are other situations, other issues which you need to look into it. That is the security services, the CCTV monitoring, the burglar alarm system, the fire alarm, fire extinguisher system, the insurance of your equipment, building, and then comes looking into the hospital management, which is in itself a very, very big subject, and it's a very, very difficult task, but it is very crucial, and it should be organized and run in a professional way. So there are a lot of things which are to be looked into, and then the Consumer Protection Act is another field where all your working and all the documentation, you should also keep into mind that you are covering yourself and you are fairly safe as well as the Consumer Protection Act is concerned. Are you fairly regular in updating your knowledge? Are you fully aware of the government regulations? Are you aware of what are your obligations to a registrar of companies? What are the local administration issues which are involved into it? What are the public health issues? What are the excise and taxation issues and the sales tax issues? Income tax department issues, public department. There are almost 30 departments with which you have to deal when you are in practice, and you should have a very well good managed system where you don't falter on any of those things. I would also like to touch on one thing, which is the stationery. I do give a lot of importance to the stationery because When the patient walks out of your clinic, that's the only document he's taking back with him. The rest of the experience remains in mind. The only physical product he's carrying back home is the stationery that you are giving. So please do give them a good stationery, and also you should have a good logo with you. After the few points that we have discussed, another important department or aspect is the HRA. That is the personnel management. The most difficult part is to handle people. As was mentioned, the ego part, which is very, very difficult to handle. And the HRA department will be looking after into the selection of the staff, their training, assignment of the duties, their evaluation, appraisal, hiring, firing, hierarchy, and salary. And it depends upon how you want to build your organization. Our organization is a flat organization. That means it's a flat, non-hierarchical organization, and we call everyone as a team member. There are about 90 team members, and we don't have any designation, but each one has their own KRA and their own duties and their own appraisal system, and he is supposed to do his task. Otherwise, the hierarchical system becomes that for one worker you will need a monitor, supervisor, for that supervisor you will need another supervisor, and for that supervisor you will need another supervisor. So try to maintain your organization as horizontal as possible. Have a good back office to do all this supportive work. Next is a few thoughts on the marketing and advertisement. Marketing is a terribly misunderstood word. It's not synonymous with advertising. It is different from selling. It's considered something not compatible with our profession. And marketing is not the art of finding clever ways to attract the patient. And it's also not becoming a better salesman. Marketing is also not competing on price. It is things which are other than the price. It is the art of helping your customers to be better off. Can you satisfy your customers? How can you make your patients feel better? That is where the marketing is, and it is quality, the service, and the value that the customer feels. And you need to have a paradigm shift that instead of calling it a practice, you can call it a service, or you can call it a product that you are giving to the patient. And calling your patient instead of patient, you can call him a customer, but still better if you can call him a consumer. And rather than saying that I charge a fees, you can use the word price, but still better will be the word value that you can use for them. And marketing is a continuous process in which you should be subconsciously involved at all the times, and in your organization, it is a concept and philosophy, and not just as a department or a single event of time. And that is how over a period of time you build a brand, which is a storehouse of trust that matters more and more with time, and more when more choices come in your area of practice. And you have to work towards creating and sustaining this brand. And this cannot be built up by cutting prices, and this can only be built up by having a pool of loyal customers, more like making more customers. And the reputation, or your reputation or your organization's reputation, is not your property. It is the property of the society. Your reputation resides in the mind of the people. It resides in the society. It cannot be manipulated. It takes a lifetime toil to build it, and it always remains volatile. And it is the image that you have created. So please make sure that in your professional and in your personal life, you are always working towards building up your reputation in the society. And the next are the advertisement. Now, what should be the advertising? You are all aware of the MCI rules of about the advertisement. Advertisement is not marketing. It is only a tool available for the marketing. Advertisements sell a dream, but the motto in our profession is understate and overachieve. The purpose of the advertisement, if you are doing advertisement which are within the norms of MCA when you are starting something new, the purpose of advertisement is to making people aware, to give them knowledge about the procedure or whatever it is. You guide them towards product preference, and finally product purchase. And differentiation and product preferences, that is what you can achieve through advertisement. Health, some people consider is a purchasable commodity. It is a business. It pays to advertise. But with my personal experience, the amount of the money that you spend on advertisement will not get you enough patients to pay for it. Any amount of money you will spend on advertisement, you will not increase your practice to recover the cost of advertisement. Advertisement will have different kind of advantages and different kind of returns in different kind of ways. This is important, that no ad or sale gimmick can convince you about the quality of a service as persuasively as can a friend, acquaintance, past customer or an independent expert. To my mind, the best advertisement is when in the evening people sit in their drawing room and talk about your practice. That is advertisement, not that they wake up in the morning and see what is on the front page of the newspaper. And it is very important to decide in which direction you are going to take your practice, where you are going to be in the next 2 to 3 years, what different innovations you are going, are you open to the patient, what they are saying. So all these things are important, and that is how you need to differentiate your practice. Now I'll come to the quality, that how important it is to incorporate quality in your practice. As a patient, what kind of a success rate you are looking at? Are you looking at 90%, 99.9%, 100%? The percentages are statistically misleading. There is only 1% difference in DNA genetic code between chimpanzee and a human. With 99.9% success, still our heart will fail to beat 32,000 times a year, and there will be 20,000 wrong drugs prescribed every year, and 500 wrong eyes operated every year with 99.9% success. So our profession is targeting towards 100% success, and we have to strive to achieve excellence through setting up quality norms and achieving them and monitoring through accreditations. And the improvement of the quality can be that you set up your mission statement for the organization, the vision statement for the organization, what are the values of your organization, what is the quality policy of your practice, and what quality initiative you are doing, what kind of accreditations you are looking at. You have ISO, which is not industry specific. You have JCI accreditation, you have NABH accreditation. So these are the different accreditations which will help you in building quality in your practice. And remember, management or you are responsible for most of the quality problems within the organizations. And continual improvement is what you need. Never think that you have reached at the best point or that you cannot do better than what you are doing. And that is, the quality is what will keep the patients coming back to you. As far as accreditations are concerned, accreditation has 4 principal components. That is, it is based on a written and published standards, which you all know. It reviews, and then it is reviewed by a professional peers. The accreditation process is administered by an independent body, and it is voluntary. You can go in for accreditation if you want, but accreditations help you set good processes within your organization, and it improves your functioning, and it improves the patient satisfaction also. The biggest barrier in quality is the mindset, and mindset is what it's very difficult to bring change in people, because for quality you have to change all of your working, and most of these problems come from conviction of ignorance, reluctance to change, lack of training, lack of motivation, and the cost. But think great thoughts, dream great dreams for great action. And in practice, you need to connect with the patients. I'll just go through the processes at our center, the way we are handling the things. This is the call center, which handles all the calls are entered into the software, and then we have the reminder calls going to the patient. This is the token system, where when patient comes, he receives a token and is guided accordingly in which area is concerned. This is the screen of the token system. This is the token slip patient gets. He goes to the reception and he is registered at the reception. After that, the flow takes him to the autoref NCT station, where autoref NCT is done. And this is the screen which is there with the optometrist. He does his work and enters the data into the EMR. The case goes to the consultant. The consultant will have the cases waiting for him in detail. He'll also have access to whatever investigations have been done the same day or the previous day, and he can review the reports on that. And the EMR does reduce the errors and it makes it much more efficient. There's the counselor area and then the OR setup. And this is how the surgery is posted. And this is the timeout screen that we have in the OR. This is the discharge slip which is given to the patient and the stationery that we are using. All the ISO, NABH, JCI accreditation details and their intents, and they are all online and anybody can read. All our work instructions are online. And we have a customer feedback system and we analyze it every month to see what is the customer satisfaction index, and whatever suggestions are coming, we are working on them to improve it. Monitoring the time stats. And then you have to look after the CSR or the corporate social responsibility. We have a weekly in-house letter, then a monthly newsletter, and then then is coming as spreading your name. That once you have done all this, you have set up a practice, you have got the accreditation, you have built the system, then you have to maintain it, and then you have to really go into maintaining your practice. Any